like what it doesn't matter, but just like what the screening looks like? Am I like just a little talking head in the corner and the slides are the main show, or?
Yeah, the slides are the main show,
Okay.
like theoretically. But actually, you know what? Both are being recorded. So, and the viewer lets you toggle between the two.
Oh, okay, cool.
So,
Please? Good question. Is that little dot up there? It's like a casino. It's just like little.
it's an eye in the sky. What do you know? Must be.
Okay. So you're not doing my session?
Right, because how many syllables can you get in 2 words?
That's what happens when you do your write-up in the middle of an airport 5 minutes before they were due. It's a Harvard word. Maybe you people don't understand it.
Maybe I understood it when I worked there.
Yeah, they took the chip out. And are you still in the T14? I forget what's Georgetown. Or are you just a tier 1 now? Or are you T14? I'll talk to you then. It's a different one from Harvard. And it just drives me crazy because the rankings are so silly. I mean, obviously, like Harvard, Yale, they have like their feeder system to the judiciary and big law, but that's another presentation for another day, why the U.S. News rankings suck. Yeah, if you're in the T14, they're pretty great. I'm just bitter because my law school was top tier when I started, and like by the time I graduated, we got down to the 2nd tier, and so like certain law schools or certain firms wouldn't interview anymore, and it's just one of those things where you're just like, not like I was going to interview with them, but. Yeah, I was surprised that they weren't here. I was wondering that. Like I was like literally.
Owner families may.
I would like it's so funny you should say that. Like as I was clicking on it in my file system, I was like, that doesn't look spelled right. I wonder if that's the correct way to spell this.
The content will.
Yeah. Yeah, it bounces out the Appalachian, the Harvard. Yes? Oh, excellent.
We all just need to pretend we're in the.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but it might become a valuable slide, like the few.
Originally presented
Yeah.
this slides at Oxford.
Yes. Well, it's 1 o'clock. Oh, 1 more minute. I'll stop. I'll be like when I taught, just stop and stare. Nice of you to fit us in your busy schedule. Okay. Yes, check your shed. Now I have 1 o'clock, I'll get started. I think everyone here knows me, but if you don't, my name's Sarah. I'm a librarian, and I've spent, that's also how I start meetings. I have spent the past year as a research fellow at Harvard, kind of studying all sorts of various things related to free and open law, one of which is topic modeling. I am far from an expert in topic modeling, but I wanted to do a presentation on it at Cali for a couple reasons, and not just the cheap $95 admission then. One, I think it has a lot of possibilities for the free and open law movement, especially for law librarians, because it turns out the law librarian skill set overlaps really, really well with what topic modeling needs and what it does. But also, you know, if you've kind of followed the whole new law, alt law thing, you'll see various kinds of computational analysis of law are becoming big. And I can see faculty members wanting to experiment a little bit with this. And you go in there and you're like, you can't even use Twin, but you want to do computational law. Okay, whatever, let's do this. The fortunate thing is, the barriers to entry have gotten really, really low to start doing topic modeling. You don't have to be a programmer, you don't have to know math, you don't have to be a statistician. You basically, if you can use Twin, you can get into topic modeling. So a lot of what this presentation will be is kind of a step-by-step, pointing out the mistakes I made, showing it so like after you see this, and I'm going to also write this up so in a more step-by-step, especially for law, because those don't exist. But just so, like the mistakes I've made and how to get into it so you can kind of hit the ground running and start topic modeling. So my actual interest in this topic started back, this is a blog post I wrote in November of 2009. And I remember, like, a lot of my blog is a blur to me, but I remember very distinctly writing this blog post because I was doing drop-in sessions for the health law courses at UK. And yeah, I used to work at UK, so that's why I spell modeling wrong. The UK version of it. Anyway, so if you're not familiar with health information, they have something called the medical subject headings, or MESH headings. And those are developed by the National Library of Medicine. It's a taxonomy for medical information. It makes looking for medical information great. It's like looking for law or journal articles or other forms of information. The MESH headings are wonderful. And it occurred to me, why don't we have a national law library? And why don't we have some sort of open taxonomy that is applied to law journals, to case law, that can be used? And of course, there is a very famous taxonomy of law that is used nationwide. Many problems with it, of course, is that it's closed, and so you have to be within the West ecosystem to use it. But if you're not familiar with it, it was developed in the late 19th century, which has its own issues that the law has changed quite a bit. I mean, they update and they change it. According to what I taught my students, what I had heard until very recently, it was done in a top-down fashion, which means they hired, attorney editors, they created the classification system top-down, and then when the cases came in from the courts, they would read the cases, assign them, and that's how the process worked. But that is not currently the way things go, as I'll talk about. And there are currently 414 main headings, many, many dozens, hundreds, thousands more subheadings. It's a huge taxonomy. So then 2005 rolled around, and a couple things happened. One, I got the invitation to become a research fellow and actually devote time to things like this. So that was exciting. Secondly, I went to Codex at Stanford, and I went to a session there. It was all about algorithms in law and just how all the new law kind of stuff that they talk about at Stanford. And the guy from West that was there, that's actually in charge of the key number system. And he just casually mentioned that West assigns key numbers now mostly through computer programs. And so after the session, I walked up to him and I had to ask, I was like, how much are you doing this algorithmically? And he said 80% of all key numbers are now assigned via computer program, not human touch, which I thought was very interesting. So that gave me the clue that it was now possible to do this on a scale level. You didn't need a whole bunch of bodies to assign case law to create this open taxonomy. And then I came to CALIcon last year, and the LII, as we all know and love, they've been working with topic modeling. And they're using a program called Mallet, and they were showing off some of the things they did. And Tom Bruce mentioned that if there's someone with a lot of time to devote to this, that would be a good thing to do. So I thought this will be one of the things I'll investigate this year. So what is topic modeling? And it's easier to kind of start with what it's not. When I first saw the presentation last year and started to see what it was and looked at their diagrams, I kind of was like, how is this different than a word cloud? And I actually asked Tom that. That was a mistake. But Elmer egged me on, so I blame Elmer. It's actually much more complicated than a word cloud. Word clouds go by just sheer raw numbers of words that, you know, if a word is used several dozen times in a body of text, it's, you know, bigger. This goes on using math. And that's the thing, like, I seriously don't understand the finite ways this actually works. I just know it does work. But so I will be using very broad terms like math and science and technology. That's because I really don't I'm not a mathematician, I'm not a statistician. I don't understand the nitty-gritty of it all, but it uses that to find topics within a corpus of text. And it's not an exact science. As you'll see, because I'm going to go through exactly how to do this, there is a lot of human touch involved in forming a topic model, both in editing out stop words as well as assigning topics. It really is mostly human power. Really just the technology and the computer programs do a lot of the grunt work to get you through that first wade through the information, but you will have to do a lot of human knowledge involved. So there are different statistical models that do it. Everything I'm talking about today is LDA. And I can't say like, oh, I really like it much better than LDA because, you know, whatever. I don't know. But just if you're at a cocktail party and talking about topic modeling, you can drop these anagrams or these word letters and look like you know what you're talking about. And so again, you don't get also, like the output, it doesn't say, oh, for example, this amount, these bills that have been passed into law, these are all about national security. You will have to go through it. You'll just get a big, what, you know, people in the business call it a bag of words. And you'll have to look at that bag of words and figure out what topic is actually being talked about. So tools to do this. Mallet is what they use at LII, and that's kind of the gold standard of if you're doing topic modeling. It's used a lot by in the digital humanities, so by English professors and undergrad institutions, historians. It's somewhat easy to use. You do have to be familiar with the command line, which I can use a command line, but I wouldn't say I'm familiar with the command line. And it was hard for me to, you know, always kind of have to look up what is that command again, because I haven't had to do this really full time since library school. So that is one option. And if you are more technologically savvy, you're okay with using the command line, use Mallet. There's something called Genism, which is a Python library. So again, oh, and everything I'm talking about, of course, is free and open source, because I think it's stupid to do stuff that's not free and open source. But so you can download like crazy any of the links I show you. So anyway, so this one, Python library, I'm not a Python person, so I did not try it, but it is available. And R, which is a big statistical package. Probably this is one of those things, just something to do with topic modeling, that those of us who are working more on the technical side of law should probably start using R and getting comfortable with R. And there is a package to download for R that is topic modeling. So those are three very technical options to do this. And I could have done any one of those, but the reality of it is, I thought to myself, I'm a research fellow at Harvard. I don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore. I don't care if people don't think I'm cool or not technologically savvy. I'm going to try and find something with a GUI that can help me do this, that won't make me crazy, so I can actually concentrate on the topic modeling and not trying to learn a software program. So my first attempt to do this was something called paper machines. And this I have such high hopes for, and I haven't given up on it yet, but it works as a plug-in to Zotero. So you can load in your corpus through Zotero, and you can topic model with it. You can do all sorts of other visualizations with it. It is a graduate student, I think she actually might be at Rutgers, is the one that originally developed it. It's sponsored in part by the Meta Lab at Berkman. But I honestly could never get it to work. Like I could get it loaded, I got it installed, I could load up my cases, but then it would just churn. It would never actually shoot out a topic model for me. So I kind of gave up on that. This is what I ended up using. It's called the Topic Modeling Tool. It is an open source GUI interface for Mallet developed by the Stanford Natural Language Processing Group. Definitely, in all of my examples, I'm going to be showing you screenshots from this. It is so easy to use. It's delightful, especially if you start off using the command line Mallet and switching to this. You're just like, oh, this is so delightful. So once you've chosen your tool, now we have to do the process. First one is to get your text. And this is actually as appropriate probably to mention in the free law track at CALIcon. The hardest thing to do is to actually get a corpus of case law or whatever corpus you want to look at to analyze. So and to do this, it has to be in text format, so not Word documents, not HTML. And you can do conversions to whatever your main source of law is. But that's, like Stanford has a corpus that they work with. I got a bunch of cases from Elmer that Callie, she sent me cases, that Callie went through case books and got cases out of case books, but then they eventually got from Ed Walters, a fast case. I mean, it's one of those things, it's like, I'm just gonna fire up Tor, go on the dark web, and get like 100 Vicodin and some case law. I mean, it's just like that much effort you have to go through. I eventually settled on getting it from Westlaw, but just FYI, if you're doing this, they do limit how many cases you can download a semester if you have an academic account. And no amount of calling them and saying, I'm a research fellow at Harvard, I'm practically a law professor at Harvard. I mean, this is like, I like to think of myself as being a nice person and not a jerk, but I got, like, first of all, I called them on the phone, which I would, like someone could be dying, I would never use a phone call for anything. So I actually called them, got through that trauma. And then I was like, but I'm a research fellow, I have to have these cases. And there was no bending their will at all. So like literally it was only like 2,000 cases that I downloaded and they cut me off. And their solution was to just sign up for another account. So again, if you're a librarian doing this and you're like downloading cases for faculty as well and like other reference requests, you might want to have a separate account that's just for your topic modeling sources because they will cut you off. Again, I mean, I literally almost did the, do you know who I am? And the guy at Westlaw didn't care who I was. I have 3,000 Twitter followers. I'm going to light you up on Twitter. They don't care. And then with LDA, you have, and this is kind of where the art of topic modeling comes in, or one of the places that art of topic modeling comes in. You have 4 factors that you can noodle with: iterations, topic words, topics, and topic thresholds. So iterations is how many times you want the program actually to run. The default is 200 times. I had better luck when I got up to like 800 times. So just the more it churns, the better your topic model result is. Number of topic words, that's how many words you get back in your bag of words. Topics, and I didn't mention this earlier, but for your corpus, you want a pretty good amount. You don't want just like 200 cases. You want like 1,000 cases as a bare minimum. You can do like a couple novels at a time. You really want, the more case or text that you have, the better your topic models will be. So that's that. So then number of topics. So for 1,000 cases to start off with, I usually start off with like 50 topics, and then I kind of noodled around, and then like once I got a handle and got rid of all the stop words that were really clogging things up, I went to about 30 topics. And then topic threshold, and this one I didn't understand for a really long time what it meant. And I kind of have this rule of thumb: if you don't understand what something does, don't touch it. So, but it basically means what's the bare minimum percentage of the case or of the corpus is this topic. So it starts off with 5%, and I got down to 2.5%. That seemed to work really well. So then you add in your stop words. Again, this is a really long process, just because there's, especially with case law, because I did it with, I've modeled a couple of different things, but I've modeled legislation. That's pretty solid topic-wise. They don't really have too much extra crap in legislation. Cases, you get a lot of weird stuff, so you really have to work on your topic words there. And once you have your set number of topics, you go through, again, this is the art part, you figure out what the topic is. So you have this bag of words, and you think to yourself, oh, this is contracts, or this is civil procedure. And it really depends on what your taxonomy is, how narrow you want to get to that. And then you do some analysis. And visualizing is optional. But in this now, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with case law visualizations, because it seems like a lot of people just visualize stuff for the sake of visualizing it, and it doesn't really add anything to me. But that just could be me, like, I don't know. Just don't feel like you have to visualize everything is what I'm saying. So this is what it looks like. See, again, very clean, very easy to use. You just fill in the blanks of what your iterations, your topic words, your topic proportion threshold, and how many topics you want. And you just keep trying and keep trying different things. And this is what it looks like when it's running. And just as an FYI, wait until it says process complete before you close it, or you have to start all over again. One of those many things I learned. And just, this is a screenshot from when I was modeling legislation. And so I modeled like all the bills in the House for the first 6 months of the year. So that ended up being like 5,000, when you counted the different versions, about 5,000 pieces of information. And that took about a half hour to churn through. Most of the time with the case law is about 10, 15 minutes. Some things I read, like especially with paper machines, that seem to take hours. It really kind of varies on what software you're using, how long it takes. But if you're doing this, you can almost plan on like getting a topic model started, then go do a reference shift, or get a topic model. So I did an LIL, go get a cup of coffee, grab some fortune cookies, see what other people are doing. So just build in, it's something you can kind of do while you're doing other things. And your output. Again, I mean, this is, I think I'm in love with this just because how difficult dealing with mallet and the command line was, how it just puts everything in nice folders for you. It puts everything in both CSV format and HTML format. I suggest you start by doing your analysis using the HTML, and then when you get to the final part, then you can look at the spreadsheets. But it's easier just, I find, to look at the HTML. And so that's that. And this is what your first initial bag of words looks like. Just a bunch of words, and you just kind of go through and you look for words that look like they should be a stop word. For whatever reason, either it's something very specific. Yeah.
What's a stop?
Oh, okay. So a stop word is something that you'll put into the program that says, don't count that as part of a topic model. And so then you won't see it anymore. So like, especially like with case law, you'll see things like defendant, plaintiff, words that just really aren't connected to a topic at all. And I'm working on a project now where I'm topic modeling antebellum slavery cases. And so that's kind of, so like words like slavery and slave are coming up a lot, but it's kind of like, do I want to edit those out because that, the way these cases are, some of them are contract cases, some of them are freedom suits. I don't want, I might miss out. So it's kind of a definite trial and error thing, like what turns out to be a word or something that should be in the topic or something that's just really extraneous that just appears so often due to the nature of the corpus that you're working with.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say like IV for 4.
Yes.
Which is directed.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah,
Can it find?
in,
That's another setting and.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, nothing like appears in quotes, but you can like also limit it if you count for capital letters or not. I just had any case works for me, but you can count, like you can have it like if something's capitalized, that counts differently than it's not capitalized. And just to, there's a close-up of one of these bags of words look like. Sometimes it can be really obvious when you're looking at what the topic is trying to tell you it is. And again, especially like with case law, it can be kind of like, this is one that seems to be kind of like what it's going for, but then all of a sudden lemons appears. And it's like, why, where did that word come from? What's going on here? And then, like these would be an example of all stop words, basically. Things in case law that just are procedural in nature or for whatever reason really aren't a topic. So if you click on a topic, it will show you, and this is sometimes a little bit easier to see if I had case law, but these are all the bill text. It shows you what letters appear in each, or what pieces of legislation appear in each topic. So this one, I don't know if you can see it. Again, don't entirely know what these numbers mean, but the higher the numbers, the more it appears. And it's kind of nice with this, if you click then on that, a specific piece of legislation, because this is all HTML hyperlinked, you can start to read the text there of the case or the legislation or whatever you're modeling. And so that is actually very useful when you're trying to figure out what every topic says. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, these are all from topic modeling tool. Yes. Yes. And this shows you, so this is like you're looking at one of the bills that were passed this year, and it shows you exactly which topics appear in this law, what percentage. So like that first topic is 50% of the case, or 50% of that legislation is about that topic, whatever that actually topic means. Stop words list, so this is something, if you decide to use a Stanford topic modeling tool, email me and I'll send you, this is the mallet-based stop word list. So if you go through and like start adding more stop words, it will forget the default mallet ones. So you just have to have the list, I'm not sure if I'm explaining this correctly, but you need then this list to add back in. So I've pulled it out of mallet and this is their basic stop word list. So again, then you just lather, rinse, repeat. Just keep doing this over and over and over again until something starts to make sense. And I felt very scientific because I had a whole bunch of notebooks with just where I wrote down, and that's a good tip. Keep track of like what things you're entering into your software, so you know like what worked, what seemed to not work, because you will do this dozens of times. Yeah.
So as you do
So
variables, you're changing.
you're most of the time just stop words, and then like when I would start a new run, that's when I would noodle with the number of topic words, number of iterations, That's, you know, I would usually take one at a time and go through and see what that changed. You know, if I do this with only 600 iterations instead of 800 iterations, is that better or worse? That seemed to make more sense. Yeah, and it's like juggling in a way. I mean, it's really so unscientific. It's kind of scary almost that you are just kind of making it up. So then you get your final list of topics that you get satisfied with it, and you'll see with this, a good amount of them I still couldn't figure out what topic it was trying to tell me it was. But you go through and assign labels, and this is where you start to get to the spreadsheets. And if you're, you know, especially if you're helping a faculty member do this, it helps to be kind of good with Excel, or the open office version of Excel. Again, I'm walking away from the microphone. Maybe the first time you open this up, scary. Ignore this column. This column is the names of all your different topic modeling. So this is all your case numbers. This is your first round of topics that are assigned to. So bill, the topic 12 was 26% of it. And then it just, you know, topic 8, topic 27, topic 16, topic 20. So it just takes kind of a while to stare at. Like the first time, and that's why I really want to write this up and with screenshots and really explain what you're looking at, because this took me a while to figure out what I was looking at exactly. But then you can clean it up. So you can, just for ease of looking at it, again, you can see a lot easier what the bill number is. And then these are the labels that I personally assign to it. Just kind of based on my legal and librarian knowledge. So again, almost scary how unscientific this all is. It really is just based on what you know. And so I just took all these then and just did a word cloud out of them just to kind of show what they are. And so you can see, like, I couldn't come up with a topic for most of them. But when you take that out, it is kind of interesting to see, like, okay, of the first 5,000 bills entered into Congress this year, security and education were major concerns. So I mean, it's kind of interesting in a way. You know, there are. I think it does provide valuable insights. Other options for visualization, Gephi. This one, and I need to get better at this. I'm working at getting better at this. But it's really for doing, and that's kind of what LII, I think, is using something similar to this, that you can really kind of see how the different pieces of information in your corpus interact with each other compared to the topics. Another one is Voyant, and that you can do word clouds with it. Voyant's very interesting, so I would just suggest checking that out, even if you're not doing topic modeling. It's just kind of neat, all the different ways you can visualize stuff. So one thing that I was really not convinced with, even despite the fact that West uses algorithms to assign topic models, and LII had a really cool thing that they were doing with it, I wanted to prove to myself, does it work for case law? And so I kind of created a little experiment for myself. So what I did, I came up with 10 very basic legal topics. And you can see some of them kind of overlap. So like contracts consideration and contracts breach are very close topics. But then you have property right of quiet enjoyment. So I tried to have things very different and across like a wide spread of legal topics as well as things that were very close together. And then I went through and for each one I found the corresponding West key number for that. Went through and I got the text. So for each key number, I got the most cited cases in that key number and the top 100 cases. That makes sense. So I downloaded 100 cases per each of the 10 topics, had 1,000 cases. That's just showing you download it in Word. I found this is the best way. Download it in Word and then convert it to text, because if you can download it in rich text format, it just doesn't work as well. This is a kind of an aside. One of the things that kind of doing more of this computational, looking at law as data, it was really interesting to me as seeing how, like Westlaw and Lexis, how unfriendly they are to using that. I mean, it's like really hard to download. You can't just download a case law as a text file from Westlaw or Lexis. And I was doing a citation study earlier, and you can't download, say, your Shepherd's report in an Excel spreadsheet. So come to the 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock session on the Harvard Digitization of Case Law project. Because just, again, more options are going to be available very soon for dealing with law as data. Lexis and Westlaw really aren't great at it. So again, after you download your cases, I cleaned it up just to make the case names all just the names of each file. And I took out duplicates. So if something was tagged both contracts breach and contracts consideration, I just took that out just to make things a little bit easier. And I ended up with a final corpus of 958 cases. Transfer that to a spreadsheet with our tags. Several days of topic modeling later, I got my final output that I then assigned tags to, and this is kind of, it'd be interesting to do this as like a true double blind. Honestly, I had forgotten what subjects I picked the first time I did this, so it kind of was like a double blind just because I was slow and forgot what I had picked. But it would be very interesting. I'd like to see something similar to this run where someone independently assigns topics to this, you're not kind of knowing what to look for. Okay, cool. How about at the end? Because I'm almost done. So I did my output and analysis, and I was really kind of impressed. 50% of the time, or 56.4% of the time, it got the first topic right. But within, like I counted ballpark, so within the first 3 topics, 86.1% of the time. And this is, I think this can get a lot better. So that kind of gave me hope that, kind of like what Hugh McGuire was saying earlier today, that maybe if a group of people kind of worked on this, we might be able to really do some interesting things topic modeling wise as far as creating a taxonomy and assigning, tags to a case law through topic modeling software instead of having to do it in person, hand by hand. And then property was one of the best, but criminal law capacity had overall the best hit rate. So yeah, so some of them were kind of bad, but it was better than I expected, because I really wasn't sure if it was going to, just because a lot of the topic modeling that I've seen in law, down at MIT, they're doing a lot with legislation. And that seemed to be easy to me, just because legislation, again, is pretty subject specific. But case law has all that extra crap in it. I wasn't sure really how it was going to work. So I'm kind of impressed with how, especially an out-of-the-box topic modeling software, how good it was at assigning topics for case law. That's pretty much all I have. You want to talk about what you guys did at LII?
So those of you that don't
Good God.
I know one of the if you do it bottom up based, and by the way, the corpus was.
That's one thing I tried
The
to,
index has changed though.
yeah. Well, initially I tried to go back to like cases before 1980, but I got cut off, so I couldn't do that experiment. But that is something I would like to see, yeah, because I wanted to make sure they were actually hand-assigned topics versus computer-assigned topics, but that didn't happen.
Well, and
Yeah.
they're on high, they're on tax.
Yeah.
legislation comes out.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that it's really good for churning through large amounts of data, text, and telling you what's there. Because, yeah, I mean, going through 5,000, like the case, the legislation thing with 5,000 bills, I went through that really fast. Like, I mean, a lot faster than it would have taken me to read all of these different bills and try to assign topics to them.
So we have. And we have actually.
Okay, yeah.
Just didn't. That, like you said, that's step one, get your documents.
Yeah, and that's like the hardest part.
That's the hardest
Like-
part.
Any questions? Yeah. Yes.
Hypothetically.
Yeah. Is it in the cloud?
No, actually, it's on my other laptop. Downstairs, remember, we don't get, if I go downstairs and I get 8 million. Who knows what's in there, right? So there's.
You could churn through and just see, I mean, it would take you like your rest of your life to read 8 million cases. But you could churn through, start off with like 500 topics and just see what those 500 topics, the 500 most prevalent topics in these cases are, and start winnowing it down and just get a rough idea. Because like the thing I'm doing with the slavery cases, it's kind of similar to the criminal justice thing you were just talking about. Because I'm looking at slavery cases in northern states and slavery cases in slave states. And what you was kind of seeing, like in the slave states, you see a lot of wills and trust issues and estate issues, whereas in the North, it's freedom suits and criminal law. So we can do big comparisons like that, very broad comparisons, much quicker than you could by reading it and assigning in person. The thing that, I can't remember what the topic of or title of my talk was. It is not quite a taxonomic panacea. It won't solve all your problems, but it will, we don't need to have a law library of the United States come up with its own mesh necessarily, and then have teams of librarians read through every case in the United States and assign them topics. We can do this programmatically and a lot faster.
You go and get 900.
Yeah. That might be one of those things you can do in R or the Python. Right.
That's what I wanna do. Everybody with me?
I'd like to use.
Let's go.
I'd like to use it to build,
Okay, does anybody wanna buy some of my colors?
You're leading the chat.
That's actually better.
Well, that's the thing. Oh, just kind of
That's actually, see, that's.
tie it into Cali. Cali does have its own taxonomy of law. That could be a good
Indeed
base,
we do.
good backbone for assigning.
Yeah, and I've done 1,000 cases.
Yeah.
When,
Here's one thing I wonder about, like how granular can you get? Like if I ran this on 8 million cases and pulled out just the big topics, like the big 13, and then if I, then took all the contracts cases and just ran those separately, like how would I eventually? But I mean, I think again, expertise in an area of law really is necessary for some of this.
So you can almost guess that the criminal.
Oh, yeah,
Buying
yeah.
everything. And then.
Yeah, that's so,
Did hey, who knows? But the, you know,
that's a very good point,
there's
yeah.
There's some stuff from looking at that even. That's
Right,
ability to interpret,
right.
that's also going to be something that's.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm 15 years out of law school now, and, like, so I can't guarantee, like, how good I was at figuring out what Lassie was trying to say. Yeah,
Who's law students, you know?
yeah, I mean, that's, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so what's.
I'd like to see more people just kind of dipping their toes in the water and then maybe refining the processes more and then maybe working with a programmer to get something a little bit more so you can get a better refined topic model, like, you know, so it'd be more like an e-discovery system, something a specific law based that's, I forget what's a super, was it unsupervised and supervised? Yeah, something a little bit more supervised system. Because this is all, you know, basically just stuff that's developed for the digital humanities and really has been meant to go through old diaries and novels and that sort of thing. So I would like to see something like more law-based that is a little bit more supervised that, but I think, yeah, I mean, just basically the idea of getting more people doing it and becoming more comfortable with the idea of topic modeling in law and then kind of see where that goes. That more, you know, some people might work on creating a taxonomy, some people might work on refining the tools a little bit better. Just the idea that with all the stuff I kind of work on, you don't have to rely upon Wes to do it. There might be a third way out there where we can create an open system out there. And again, like with the Harvard stuff coming out down the pike pretty soon, that there will actually be a corpus to work with. That's one of the things to do with that corpus when it comes out. Not that, because I know Elmer went to a meeting like 3 years ago.
I've been to a lot of meetings. First meeting I was at.
I turned it off. I'm trying to get myself unplugged from the system and then the HDMI. Though, does anyone know how to get a, like, I don't have to eject an HDMI cable from my,
The cable might have puts on.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Those cables are really hard to pull.
I think I just, whoever's doing presentations in this room for the rest of the day, you just have to deal with me standing next to you.
I'm working on this project where they're doing.
To develop a coding. For health insurance.
Thank you. But seriously, if someone wants to help me unplug my computer, I cannot get this unplugged.
Oh, let's have 10 people. How many people is it take? Eyeglasses is what it takes for me.
Oh, yeah, that is really on there. Goodness, I'm afraid I really think it's gonna hurt the port if we don't find how to unlock this thing. Wait, open the lid, see if that makes a difference. Wait, open the lid, open.
They're not a.
There's. Wait,
It just, I noticed that they're all
go,
kind of tight.
go, baby, go.
Wow, that is in there.
Damn.
Wait, let's open the lid and see if that somehow makes any difference. Maybe it's pushing down. It shouldn't, but try. It's the only thing left to try.
I'll break your laptop. Either lost a laptop or inherited a cable.
Something's moving.
It goes in.
Yeah.
It moved a little bit, but it just,
I think we need to call them.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That's probably a good idea.
Wait, I have a radio.
Ooh.
It's not like
Oh, no, John doesn't have one.
it's not like it's the first internet.
Yeah, there've been, yeah, that was something.
I don't know what that was, but it's not there.
Yeah, I would use the VGA.
I really don't want to.
Wow.
I mean, it went in, like, nothing was abnormal putting it in. Like, it didn't, like, jam it in there. Yeah. I mean, I never, like, the only time is whenever I got a DVD player now, so I can use this to watch DVDs on my TV. So if we break the HDMI input on my, it's not going to be the, you know.
It's still recording everything we say. That's awesome, right?
Yes.
What's amazing?
Including the video.
Oh, good. Why don't we get a hedge clipper and
Yeah, that might.
Pardon me.
Oh, you mean the part where it's going streaming out with
Out into
everybody
the
like
world.
pulling on the things? Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, it doesn't
I'm
work.
gonna talk about something embarrassing now.
It really doesn't want to come out.
well, not being able to unplug my computer is pretty embarrassing.
It's okay. All these like talented people can't do it either. There's probably someone on remote streaming right now who's like,
Flummoxing the best.
the switch,
Matt, what was the deal with that cable release?
the dongle. Don't you see the dongle?
What kind of computer is this?
It's a Acer,
No, it's got
an Acer something.
yeah, it has a snug, secure release. I just don't know.
Acer, yeah. That I don't know.
We got it. It's not really a release. It's just it's got those two snug ends on it.
Wonder how to. Collar stays in hotel.
Is there a power outlet on the podium?
Yes. All the way in there, yeah. Yeah, it's.
Oh, I can plug that in.
pull it anymore.
Come in, Samir. I think Bobby's going to need some help putting in mixers in 245 and 346 here.
How was your conference? That was fine. I plugged my computer into that.
Can you grab a bunch of the clock audio mics from the courtroom, from the judge's bench?
No, it just
It doesn't often.
finger traps.
Yeah. Contacts bent up. Ah. Okay.
Never a dull day.
It's never a
Perfect path HDMI cable.
Well, I'm gonna go get water.
You always, you know, it's always fun when you Google it and it's there. Actually, start like.
I would just grab 5 or 6 of them.
Here, wait.
So my mind is like, what the- so I Google.
Company called Perfect Path, and they have a patent
User initiated.
on this cable. It's just a full HDMI to HDMI cable.
I got mine.
Check this out. Ready? We might have to punch in here, Giuseppe, when I do this. You're punching in, really? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in. You heard it.
You have more
This
hair than you do.
HDMI cable.
Okay, get to the release part.
It's a little freaky. Every single person.
how geeks solve a problem.
Back and it releases. Lockable HDMI cable.
Pull back on this piece right here.
Lockable on
Pull
both
that.
sides. Think about
Pull the
FS100s.
base.
Think about F3s. Think about AF100s. Think about any
So what's he pulling on?
full HDMI to full HDMI, and
How is that a
these are
lockable
the
cable?
cables. To
Why
me,
would it be a
that you
lockable?
should be getting? Because if we want to take something that was really not designed as a professional connector, like an HD SDI is, production, we need to be able to have
So show us how to unlock it, Mom.
feature. Perfect path, lockable HDMI cables. Maybe actually the best thing I've shown you guys on Gearbox in a really long time.
But you didn't show us how to
I'll put
release
links
it.
to and I'll see you guys on Gearbox.
I know, right? You shouldn't really put that much stress on anything.
I'll see if there's a perfectpath.com. Find how to release their damn cable.
Back later, you know, we're ready to go.
That'd be a huge lifesaver right about now. Perfect path HDMI cables with the locking teeth on the end. If you know how to release one of these damn things, that'd be
Perfect path locking connector video. Let's see if this helps. No, wait, here we go, watch. Okay, it slides in, okay, so pull back on this, hold this still, pull back on the main part, on the sides. Pull them, pull towards you, yeah, there you go. That's what's supposed to do it. Here, I'll show you the video, and you can try exactly. Insert that, this moves forward, and now it's supposed to be locked. And you pull back on the base, and then the whole thing should unlock it. But it's not. So I can see how there's that. Yeah, but it's not unlocking. Well, at least we know how it's supposed to work.
They were just use Glassmeyer's computer. Disconnect this at the end of the house and then work on it later.
I do have VGA.
Yeah, we'll switch to VGA.
Will it still do the same DPI? I know, it's evil. It's just beyond evil.
No, probably not.
At the other end, and find another cable, she can take it home with her.
I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
Aren't you guys having fun?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's the world of events. Oh, sorry, that's yours. Keep moving. I'm getting possessive. Well, we can do this at least.
Oh, there we go.
Should be coming up.
Is that that? Ooh, the resolution. Oh, I guess it's, I'm just doing presentations. No, it's showing up here. Yeah. Fireplace. When in doubt. Yeah. I won't have my notes, but that's.
Well, at this point, I think we're fine for this presentation, but we definitely have to replace those.
I feel special.
I'm ingesting chocolate.
I think it's zip tied up there too, so even if you want to take it out.
What it is, I'm looking at how it is gliding back.
You know what? We could probably, if we had pliers, we could probably push it down beneath. Lock, that's unlocked. If I put, I mean, that's the plate right there. If I
Yeah.
had something thin, I could probably maybe just. No.
It's the emergency card of emergencies. Even there, it's jammed.
Pushed out.
All right, if you want to work on this, I'll go take these mics down to Bobby then, because I don't know where they need to be set up. All right. Right, then we can take that down. Where do these need to be set up?